This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 603.
I program my own computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology.
Why, hello everybody, this is Adam Silvey, host of the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events. There are no WordCamps next weekend. Sad, but true. But I have news to share with you that WordCamp US videos from Portland, from WordCamp just a few weeks back, those are now rolling out, if not almost all done, and are over on WordPress.tv. So check those out this week. Instead of attending a camp, or if you missed it, go back and watch those. So pretty cool stuff there. A lot of great content as well. All right, moving on, segment one in the news. So this was interesting. Since last week, apparently 114 new vulnerabilities have emerged in the WordPress ecosystem, including 96 plugins, 18 themes. And I looked at this list, and I'll put a link in the show notes. There's some popular, plugins and themes in here. One of the things I saw that was surprising to me was, which one was it here? A Beaver Builder got updated. I ran that already. There was another one in here I saw. I forgot which one it was called. There's Lazy Load for videos, Events add-on for Elementor. There's a lot in here, obviously, out of 119 things. But the one that really popped out, it was, I think, Uncanny Automator, which I've been kind of messing around with again lately on a project. But nonetheless, you can find the link in the show notes, and you should update your plugins if it's on that list. Either way, make sure you stay up to date, people, because you don't want to have a vulnerability and exposure to that. So yeah, that's that. All right, moving on. Segment two, meat potatoes, this week's episode. So in case you're new here, I'm a friendly guy. Much to my kids and my wife's chagrin, I can start up a conversation with just about anyone. Grocery store, in line, at the post office, Roadrunner Sports, REI, you get the drift. And that being said, a topic that comes up in conversations I happen to do with people randomly is what I do professionally, that being web development / WordPress. And then the question comes into play, how long does it really take to get a website done these days? With the hot buzzwords right now being AI and generative content, and with my new role, I wanted to revisit this topic. How long does it take? So today I'm talking about the time. In this case, really, what's it take to build a website? And I have a brief 5-point approach for this episode. Talking points, if you will. And of course, there could be a lot more here, but for this episode, I think these shall suffice. So starting with number one, a new build versus a refresh. A new website starting from scratch takes longer. You're dealing with strategy, architecture, design, content creation, technical setup, because nothing exists yet. So every decision needs to be made. Now, if you're doing a refresh or a redesign, much faster, but that depends on whether you're simply giving a new coat of paint, i.e. designing UI, or restructuring everything under the hood, content reorganization, a new platform. Sometimes a refresh ends up taking just as long as a new build if the scope creep kicks in. So you got to make sure you don't let scope creep happen, right? And just off the top of my head, I just realized I didn't even talk about contracts here in this these 5, but we'll get to that. We'll get to something else after that. Number 2, functionality matters. Now, not all websites are created equal, that is for sure. A site's purpose often dictates its timeline. Now, a brochure marketing site, typically quicker since it's mostly static content, contact form, maybe a blog. A membership site adds a layer of complexity, user reg, gated content, integrations with payments, and maybe member management, obviously. E-commerce, even more layers, products, inventory, checkout, shipping, taxes, compliance, and testing is very critical in an e-commerce situation. And there's always, the last one here would be learning management. Courses, quizzes, progress tracking, certificates with heavy content input also takes a little bit longer to plan and launch. So after functionality, we then lead into number 3, which would be design considerations. Now, who provides the design? If the client brings a finished design, the development timeline is much shorter, right? If the agency / team is designing from scratch, get a factor in discovery, wireframes, and revisions. And again, is the design that's been provided by a third party actually up to snuff from a web perspective? And, a design for print is not the same as a design for web. Keep that in mind. There's also UI UX. Strong UX research takes testing. Iteration can add weeks. but it can pay off, usually does, with usability and conversions, also for mobile, right? So skipping a step may save time up front, but may cost more later to fix, okay? Moving into number 4, who's involved? This is a big deal because the number and type of people involved changes everything. The client, stakeholders, if it's a solo entrepreneur, might sign off instantly. A medium-sized business might require approvals from multiple departments. Enterprise level clients involve much more time. Otherwise, it was committees and delays, right? The development team, right, on this case, also who's involved. Small team, 1 to 2 people. You could move fast, but limited in bandwidth. What I mean by the small team is people building the site. Larger teams, 5 to 10 people. Now you're bringing in specialists, a project manager, an account manager, a strategist, designer, dev, QA testers, delivery manager, just off the top of my head. Moving parts really means more communication, which can add time, but also ensure the quality, okay? And then lastly in this little section, version control. Usually a marker of a larger, more mature team, which means structured processes, reviews, and QA adds to the timeline. So if someone's using version control, I feel like that's a great level. You need to be at that right level. Well, I think actually everyone should be using version control. I can't say that we always do internally at my old agency, but the new one for sure. But yeah, it definitely reduces future headaches by using version control, some sort of version control. Definitely want to have that involved as well. And number 5, budget and timeline connection, right? Smaller budgets tend to mean smaller scope, less functionality, faster turnarounds, but also limit room for strategy, for testing, and for polish. Larger budgets can, not so ironically, take longer, right? Bigger budgets mean more stakeholders, bigger expectations, deeper discovery phases, and a longer sales cycle. All that before the first line of code is even written, okay? The catch here, of course, is budget isn't just about money. It influences the speed of decision-making and the resources allocated. So it's a lot to take in a short amount of time, I get that. To wrap this up, kind of put a bow on it, and the answer to the question is, how long does it take? Well, the standard WordPress answer really applies here. It depends. Like I said earlier, a single landing page with a contact form or a scheduled appointment site might take 1 to 2 days. Really easy, right? That is one of the easier things to do. Basic brochure site, right? A small marketing site might be built in a couple weeks. And then again, lastly would be the robust e-commerce or learning management or membership could stretch into months. And what really dictates that is the scope, the stakeholders, and the functionality, and the budget. All 4 of those pieces come into play. So I'm a firm believer that time does matter. People's time has value. The value needs to be justified, but so does taking action. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, progress over perfection. Don't let perfection be the enemy of good, but at the same token, people, when I say people, clients, at the end of the day, want what they want, but within the time frame, in the budget, in the scope described. It's kind of it's a moving target, if you will, at best, but it doesn't have to be so random. There's a good way to do this, and that's really with good scope and discovery and a decent budget. I'm not going to lie. So there you go. How long does it take? Depends. I'm going to say 1 to 2 days for a basic landing page, but up to months. It could be 2, 3, 4 months for something much larger, because that's just what it takes. If it was easy, and I think people get a little ahead of themselves these days by just looking at some of the things in the news, and anybody could do it. At the end of the day, big companies don't want to do this. They don't know where to go. Even if they wanted to go and use a service like Lovable or Replit or Vibe Code something, I think those are great tools, but at the end of the day, that's not their business. They come to you as an agency owner, as a developer, as a solopreneur to help them accomplish their goal. You're the industry expert here. You're the subject matter expert. So you need to have that conversation from the get-go and get things on paper. All right, so that's my little soapbox on that, on timelines. Moving on, segment 3, tip and tool of the week. This one it's a website service called Pumble, Pumble. I found this out from my friend Dustin. I guess his wife might be moving into it. It's a competitor to Slack, actually, and it offers a free plan with unlimited message history, unlimited users, 24/7 support, which Slack apparently restricts to paid tiers. So if you need something like Slack for your team or teams, but need all the history of your conversations, don't want to pay much for it, check out Pumble, Pumble.com. I haven't used it yet. I'm looking into it. It's kind of interesting, but I don't know if I'll have a need for it. Just want to share that, it's an interesting tool of the week. So there you go. All right. Thanks, Dustin, for that one, by the way. I'm going to wrap it up here. If you have any questions, go ahead, send it in via email, adam@kitchensinkwp.com, or use that speak pipe function on the website. If you want to support the show, a couple ways. You can become a Patreon. That'd be great. You could buy me a coffee. You can sponsor the show. There's a form on the website. Fill that out. I'll get right back to you on that. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right. Bye-bye.